From Studio 18 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is In Studio with Susan Minuk.
On September 20th, 2021, my next guest became the new MP of Thornhill, Ontario. Some call her a political firebrand, others the Princess Warrior of Parliament. Please welcome to Canadian Jewish Television, Melissa Lantsman. Hi, Melissa. Hi. Thank you so much for being here on CJTV.
Thanks for having me.
So, Melissa, in 2011, you were appointed Director of Communications for Prime Minister Stephen Harper, accompanying him on all domestic and foreign visits. What was your big takeaway from this high-profile role?
Well, I had a lot of high-profile jobs leading into a career into politics. I worked in the federal government. I worked for the Minister of Foreign Affairs. I worked for the Minister of Environment. I worked for the Minister of Trade. I worked for the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So I got to see the world, and I got to see Canada's place in the world, and I got to see what Canada could be. And I know that we'll talk a little bit about that, but it was an incredible experience with lots of responsibility, really young, so it gave me good training for what I'm doing now.
So this is interesting, Melissa. You face Liberal candidate Gary Gladstone in the 2021 Canadian federal election. And on September 20th that year, you won the seat with 51.3% of the vote. So how has your life changed in this new role as MP of the District of Thornhill?
Well, it's come totally full circle. I always wanted to do this, and the election campaign for us was fun. Like, we had a lot of fun on it. We engaged people that never were involved in politics. We engaged young people, really old people, and everybody was there to chip in and help. And I am so humbled and so honored still every single day to be doing the thing that I've always wanted to do.
So, Melissa, let's get into this. You've had some heated exchanges with Prime Minister Trudeau in the House of Commons, some of which got you major U.S. coverage. Where does this ability to stand up and fight for what you believe in come from?
I think that ability comes from a little bit of training and a little bit of who you are and a little bit from my parents and a little bit from the community that I think that raised me, and I believe that it comes from doing what's right. I had a lot of heated exchanges because there's a lot of things to have heated exchanges about. You've got the most powerful people in the country across from you, and you get to ask them questions about the direction of this country. And I think that's a really, really big responsibility, not only as a Canadian, not only for the people of Thornhill, but as somebody who represents the largest Jewish community. I think that's important.
The vast majority of hate-related crimes are still perpetrated against Jews in this country. What is the Canadian government going to do about that?
Well, this is when it gets serious. We've seen an increase, 700% increase according to B'nai B'rith, over 700% in crimes targeted against the one community. We saw just in the last number of weeks a rise in what I think are hate-motivated incidents towards the community. And look, there is a reason why. They're more organized. They don't see that the system has any kind of powerful deterrence in it to say, hey, this is not okay, and you're going to get charged. We don't have enough of that. So I think it's incumbent on the federal government, it's incumbent on all governments to look at ways that are going to punish the perpetrators of what is masquerading as anti-Zionism, but in its essence is anti-Semitism.
Melissa, how do you think your Jewish values have informed your career?
Well, first of all, I was raised in a strong Zionist household. I was raised with parents from the former Soviet Union that took, Judaism pretty seriously in terms of the way that they educated us. And I was raised by the organized Jewish community. I'd done all the programs, went to all of the schools, all of the camps, and it taught me that. It taught me everything about who I am and why I believe in what I do. And I just happen to have the courage to stand up because I have the entire community behind me.
Melissa, fans of yours and pundits say that you could very well be the first Jewish female prime minister one day. How do you feel when you hear that?
Well, first of all, it feels amazing. My mom said if I wasn't going to be a doctor, I could be prime minister. So there is that. So I know that I have a couple of fans out there, but I have a ton to learn about how politics works. I was elected to be the Member of Parliament for Thornhill. I'm going to get really good at that. I'm going to stand up for the people of Thornhill, and hopefully they'll be behind me for what comes next.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being our guest, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're watching In Studio with Susan Minuk.
Canadian Jewish TV is brought to you by Album Equipment Rentals, the MPL Modular Film and Audio Studios, Tom's Place, Key West Video, and Chairman Mills. The Elevator Show and In Studio are signatures of Canadian Jewish TV.